Okay, welcome to Life Coaching Classes and Videos by Universal Recovery 360. I am your host, Pernell Baston. It is my birthday today. I turned 57. 57 is not that bad. All right, so today, right, for my birthday, right, I want to do something called It Happened, You Just Didn't Go With It. All right. Now, I like to give a disclaimer about what I say. Usually, if you haven't watched the videos before these, right, you're gonna miss a lot of things because I bring up a lot of the stuff that I said previously as reference. I use a couple of other references too, but I like to bring up the truth that I've already used in an example so that it is solidified, and when I use it, right, it becomes truth regardless to who hears it. So when I remind somebody of it because I went back to it as a reference, it helps. So that's why I do that. All right. So here's what happens. There's a belief system that says, right, there's 3 steps, right, to salvation: belief, right, faith, and fruition, right? The problem is, by their definition, belief only means, right, that perhaps it might be true, right? Faith means, right, you know it to be true, and then fruition means you become what you know. You become the truth, right? So we, right, or I'm going to say I, right? I'm going to keep it simple because I know people tend to get defensive when I use the term we, even though it's true. Right? Right, when it comes to believing in something, right, know, right, that it is not the end of the research for me, right? I know it is only step 1. So I don't end, right, the subject on what I believe to be true, right? But there was a time when I thought, right, belief is all you needed to do was believe, right? Then they would say have faith, so I thought those 2 things meant the same thing. They didn't tell me it was step 1 and step 2. They said you just gotta believe, right, and have faith, right? So, and even that is not to complete, right? Because fruition is to complete. If you're using that, right, criteria. So there's a lot of things that have happened in my life, right, where I believed it, right, to be true. And so I ended the conversation, or I heard somebody say something and it was so put together, right, that it made so much sense to me, right, that I started standing on it, right, believing in what they said just because it made sense to me, right? Now what I do is I take what makes sense to me and I look into it, because whether you know it or not, every time you go through a situation, right, that starts out with you believing, right, and you end it there, the faith part still happens and the fruition part still happens. It just happens without you. And that's what I mean by it happened, I just didn't go with it, right? So then I start feeling like I got left behind, like I took 2 steps back, right? That is all because I refuse, right, to look into things, to learn about things. Now, I'm going to give you an example that fortunated me, right? I have sickle cell, right? So I'm a little bit kind of in the example of I live day to day as much as I can, right? But me having sickle cell has taught me to stop believing what others say about me and the sickle cell that I have, right? It has caused me to start wanting to start doing my own research on the sickle cell, right? So when a person tells me something, back then, right, I believed them. A doctor used to tell me something, I believed them, right? Then I started doing research. The doctor tell me something, I'd be like, that's not true, right? And now, right, I help them so that they can get better because I've done my own research. But I have went from belief to knowing to becoming what I know. So now I can give it away. But the problem for me and most people is that we get stuck in the belief part. I'm telling you, right? When you get stuck there, right, and you don't become what you know, you don't take the necessary steps still happen, right? That's why they say, oh man, you missed out on that one. Yeah, because it kept going. You just didn't go with it. That's why they say, man, you should have had that job. What happened? It kept going. You stopped. That's why they say, man, I thought you was going to get with that one, with that girl. What happened? She kept going because you stopped, right? You got caught in belief in who you are compared to who she is, belief in who she is compared to who you are. You know you like it, didn't say nothing to her, so she kept going, right? You didn't try to become what you know. And that's what happens, and that's why it is so important to be what you know. Because it's a process you have to take to get there. Now, if you don't take the process, right, you're going to get stuck. Because it's going to happen without you. It's like the 5 stages of grief. People don't get that. No matter what you go through that's traumatic, those stages happen. If you're smart, you get ahead of the stages and you control them, right? So that they can happen to your advantage in your life, so that it doesn't take you away from yourself just to process it. These are the things that people don't tell you, right? Right? These are the things that people give you examples of, right? So that you can keep following them, so that they can give you more and just a little bit more and just a little bit more while you keep on paying them and keep on paying them and keep on paying them. I'm not saying there's something wrong with a person having a business, right? That's about making money. But if you're about tricking people and dragging people along, it doesn't matter how many people you help, right? It's all for naught, right? You cannot do good by doing bad. Believe me, I tried, right? The only thing you can do is find truth, right? Then it takes you out of the good and bad. But back to the it happened, you just didn't go with it, right? There's a lot of things in your life you're going to look back on, right? A lot of opportunities you're going to realize you missed, right? And if you put this process that I'm telling you into your mindset, right, just one time, right, you're going to know how to fix it next time. Right? You're going to know that it's your choice. Whether you get it or not, you're going to know that you go farther than just believing in something. And you're going to take the next step, right? And then you're going to see that step work. And then you're going to take the next step. And then you're going to become what you know, right? And when you become what you know, and here's what people don't like, right? Because people say not everybody should have all information. Like they say that about young people, they say that about mean people, they say about evil-spirited people, right? Some people you just can't give certain information, right, because it'll destroy them. What they mean by that is, right, once a person understands how they work, depending on their intent and their mindset, because, right, there are evil people in the world, right? They just have a mean spirit, right? It's not their fault, right? It's not the physical fault, right? And it's not the mental fault, because the mind doesn't know. We don't know how much, we don't know the power of the mind. I mean, we say we do, but we play around with it, right? So the reality is we get lost in the things that it does, this and this. We get lost in the things that they do, and they tend to be like, man, you taking too long. So they do it on their own, right? Because it doesn't belong to us. We are just visitors. Right? That's why when you pass away, there's someplace else you go, and this here shit goes away. If you believe in it. But anyway, right? So what happens, right, is, again, right, you have to, right, know, right, that certain things, right, that happen in your life, and this is why I like to say Life Coaching Classic videos by Universal Recovery 360 degrees, because they're going to keep happening universally. They're gonna be the same thing today, yesterday, and forever. They're gonna be universal, right? And when you start understanding universal, you'll start understanding that if you can see the past, you can see the present, you can see the future. The problem with people who see the past is they look at their past with guilt, right? That's why hindsight is always 20/20 vision, because you already knew. Looking back, you knew, right? But it happened without you. You just didn't go with it. You knew. A lot of times we just hope things go away, right? You just say, fuck it, I'm going to ignore it, it'll go away, right? But it continues to happen without you. And that's why you either become miserable, ready to kill somebody, stressed out your mind. No. Get with that shit. Don't let it go without you. Take the trip. It's short. And the better you get at it, the better you control it. Before you know it, it won't even be happening anymore because you'll see it coming and you'll stop it before it even gets close. I swear to you, right, on my life, right, when I'm finished with this video, I'm going to stop this thing, sit down, and my mind is going to be clear. I'm not going to look back on anything in guilt, right? That's part of, some people say, and I'm grateful for it, that's part of my sociopathic tendencies where I don't know how to look at things in guilt. Now, there's a difference between a sociopath and a psychopath. A psychopath will look back on things or look at things that happen that's terrible and enjoy it. Like, be like, ooh, that's not me, right? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a psychopath, right? I'm just saying it's not me, right? I'm more sociopathic, right? Where I just tend to, right, enjoy indulging, right, but not being a part of, right? Almost like the Bible statement where it says, be in this world but not of it. That's me, but by definition, right, the Bible calls it one thing, right? We call it sociopath, right? So the Bible says a good thing, but we say it's you're a sociopath if you do those same things, it's good things, right? Right? There's other things connected to it too, but that's why you can't really put a topic on somebody because it works on both sides. It works for the benefit and against them. And if they're smart, they know how to stay out of it. Some people don't know how to stay out of it. That's what this is for, right? But again, right, if you ever find yourself with something happening, spur of the moment that shocks you, right? Believe me, you're going to go through the 5 stages of grief instantaneously, right? Those things take you through those things. Now, if it shocks you and makes you happy, you still go through the 5 stages of grief, right? Because happy, anger is all the same, right? In this, right? This doesn't know how to differentiate. That's why they say it is not in flesh to think or bone to reason. It doesn't know how to differentiate happy from angry. So it happens regardless. But you need to be there to guide it, right? Stop letting it happen without you, right? There's 2 things that happens when you let it happen without you. It's actually 3 things, but the third thing you figure out on your own, right? The first thing that happens is you feel bad, right? Looking back, right? The second thing that happens is you beat yourself up for forever, right? You beat yourself up forever, and you don't realize that that's the start of the stages, right? Instead, you just live in it, right? Process that shit through. Before you know it'll be happening just like that. You'd be angry before you processed. Right? No more cursing, screaming, all that. What is it? Anger. What? Then the second one is something else, and then the shit. I'm so pissed right now. Right? Anger, something, depression, acceptance. You know the process, right? You gonna go through it. Believe me, you gonna go through it. Right? Whether you know what it is or not. So you might as well learn your body. Right? Learn your flesh so you'll know what it is that's happening, right? And you know how to go against it so you can balance it out and then remove it, right? That's what the process is. That's what people, teaching people the process is supposed to be for, right? To teach them how to utilize them to benefit themselves, right? But they only teach them to utilize them when they deemed it necessary, right? Why do you think that is? Why do you think you have to reach a certain standard before you can call it that process? When they know that everything is the same standard. It's because they've altered, right, information. It's almost like the guy saying, we knew, right, that there were 13 months in the year. We knew that there were 13 months in the zodiac calendar. We just decided not to tell people because it would cause too much confusion because people are already satisfied with what they have. But the reality is if you go from 12 months to 13 months, 90% of the people's horoscopes just changed. And that's what they wanted to avoid. So that's what they decided to do to the people, right? Because that's what's best for the people. Who makes that decision for you? Who gets to do that? But if we don't do no research, we don't know what happened. That's why they be talking about all these goddamn damn, I just stuck my finger in my nose, didn't I? That's nasty. Sorry. Man, we talk about all these people, how they make these rules and how they make these laws, and we just accept it, right? Because we believe them, right? We don't do the research. We don't get to faith and fruition, right? That happens in everything in our lives, and there are smart people, right, who know what I'm telling you, that are utilizing this to their benefit. And that's why they say everybody shouldn't be given the same information, everybody, because some people ain't ready for it. Like, you can't feed a baby steak. I believe if you chop it up the right way, you can feed a baby anything. Like, but my belief has nothing to do with the reality that some people, right, are going to take it and use it for the wrong reasons, right? It don't matter what age you tell them at, what age they find out at. They have something in them that is going to use it for the wrong reasons. People are hoping that people change as they grow, but people don't change, right? That's the reality. People don't change. What we do next defines us. And that's one of those things I've been building up with too, right? So you got to stop doing that, right? We keep our kids, right, in lack of information, right? And that benefits the governments and all that shit. We keep our children blind to what's true, right? Because we call ourselves protecting them, and then we get in the habit of saying when they're kids, stay out of grown folk business, right? So they don't know what's going on, right? They don't know how to process things. They don't learn how to do any of those things because they always been put in the dark because they're kids, right? They gave you the perfect example with Christ. He was 7 years old, out there doing his thing, talking and questioning and asking questions, and people were responding. They weren't saying, "You too young." They were responding because they were impressed. They weren't saying, "Stay out of grown folk business." They were so impressed that they applauded him and wanted him to continue doing it. But us, you stay in that corner over there. So you don't get to understand anything. You only get to believe what people tell you. Like if you miss the whole topic of what happened and you say, "Mom, what happened?" when she come back and she tell you some bullshit, right? No offense, because I love my mom. She tell you some bullshit. You believe her, right? But you don't go beyond that because it's your mother. But you want to, right? Because you know part of you gonna go. You don't know it at the time, but part of you gonna continue to go through it, all the way to fruition. And that's why in your mind, hindsight will always be 20/20 vision. When you say, "I knew I should have did something about that. I knew I shouldn't have let that happen. I knew that what they said wasn't right. I knew what they said wasn't true, but I let it happen anyway." No, you didn't let it happen. You just moved out the way, right? Because you don't control this. It's going to happen whether you wanted to or not. The problem is you didn't go with it, right? So stop saying you let it happen when the truth is you just didn't go with it, right? When it comes to this, you better learn how to go with it until you can get in front of it, until you can control it. And I like to say this about my Mustang, right? Mustangs, drivers don't drive cars, we ride cars, right? We ride our cars like a Mustang. We go with it, right? We don't drive it like it's ours, it belongs to us, right? We ride it, we respect it, we treat it like it is supposed to be treated, right? Mustang riders ride hard, right? We ride with the car. We ride like we ride in a Mustangs, right? We go with it, in other words, right? So I got a lot of things in my life that represent the same thing I'm trying to tell you, right? Because when you start believing things, the things around you start to represent, right, what you believe in, right? And you start seeing it in things you say, you start seeing it in things you do. But you have to become what you know. You have to become what you know. Otherwise, you're going to start seeing it, but you're not going to be the reason it's there. It's going to happen without you. And before you know it, you're going to become something you don't know. Right? And you're going to think you change. You people don't change. What they do next defines them. You can't do that to yourself. All right, I'm at 20 minutes, right? I'm hoping, right? I'm hoping because this one here, you got to remember this, that your life, right, is going to happen without you. This is going to happen, right? We're visitors. We need to get with the program, right? Utilize this thing, right? Get to know it, right? Become one with it, right? That 13, right? That one unified, constituted a unified entity of three. Not just this and this, but this, and that. Three. You got to become one with this, right? Otherwise, it's going to go without you. It is not something that thinks or reasons, right? It is not in flesh to think. It is not in bone to reason. It will do, whether it's good or bad or indifferent. It is going to do the same thing when you got opposites. It's going to do the same thing for the good that it gives to the bad. It's going to be fair in all its judgments, just like everything else in this world is. But we're just so pig-headed, right? We've been so taught how to live, right, that we're missing everything about life. Everything about life. And I'm sorry for that. Right? And I hope, right, you find life through these videos. I hope you find it, because it is a beautiful thing. I understand why we are here, right? And I'm going to enjoy every minute that I'm here, right? And I'm going to use every minute where you say, take it and teach the world the gospel, right? They all say that, right? But that's what I do, because I believe in it beyond, right, the system, right? By the time it gets to you and you look back at me, you see it, right? That's the fruition. That's the becoming what I know. You can tell. A lot of people look at me and they just see it when I'm walking or when I'm talking with somebody. They can see it, right? But that's what they see. That's the glow you have. That's what you represent, right? Who you are is what you represent, not who you become. Because you're not going to change, right? So there is no end to you, right? You're going to keep being the same person. But what do you represent? All right, it's my birthday. Go pee, man. It's your birthday. Go pee. Like, what? Oh, I'm sorry. I had to get my shit together because I'm going to New York to visit my lovely daughter. Spend some time with her. Then come back and get right back to it. But again, I promise you life is good. It is the end in the entire universe. It is the best thing that I wake up to, no matter how I feel when I wake up. All right? A couple hours and I'm good. See, because it's this. Right? Sometimes I wake up and this is bad. Don't want to do nothing and all kind of pains and stuff, right? Sometimes I just soak in it, right? But I enjoy my life too much to soak in anything. So even if this is feeling bad, I tell people I detox so much when I was first getting in recovery. I detox so much, I don't even know what that feel like no more. I could be detoxing right now. Nobody would even know. After a while, pain gets comfortable. That's how many times I detoxed. It got comfortable. Time don't change nothing. You know how they say you pick right back up where you started? I'm going to pick right back up where I started, because it's not just here anymore. It's here, here, and here. I have become what I know. Don't worry about it no more. You don't become what you know. It keeps happening here and here. over and over and over. Because you need something to bring it together. But we're scared of the number 13. We don't know why 3 and 7 is so powerful. Shit, I got a 7 right there. I know what it means. And I know who I am. Take that for real. That's true. All right, time to go. Peace. Love you guys. Be good to yourselves and each other. Life Coach Class videos by Universal Recovery 360. I am your host, Pernell Bass, and it is my birthday. Right? And remember, it is going to continue to happen without you if you don't get on board. Right? And you're going to feel like you went 2 steps back when you took a step forward. You're going to feel like you went 2 steps back. I'm going to merge all that together on the next one. Right? Don't worry, I got you. It's called Truth, Falsehood, and Lies. Coming soon. A refresher. Peace.